Hi, I'm Wayne Clark from Barbados, and every Saturday, for the best in Caribbean and Afro-American culture, watch CultureShare.
Wayne Clark, a Caribbean man, a Caribbean artist from Barbados. You're here at the exhibition of the Caribbean artists, a great display. You have three pieces, a series. I'm sure you'd like to explain to us all about it.
Sure, I'll be glad to. These three pieces are called Old Barbados, and to me they represent what I consider the dying ways of Barbados and a lot of the Caribbean. As the Caribbean becomes more modernized, I notice a lot of the things that I was accustomed to as a child are sort of fading away, lifestyles. And the first piece I guess I can deal with is the piece of the fisherman with the net. And as a young boy, almost every place you went to where there were fishermen, you would see them, especially on Sundays, with their nets, netting them and patching all the holes, etc. Now I notice most fishermen have big boats and they go away for a day or a few days and then come back. And you hardly see any of these guys casting nets. So this piece was taken about 1975 or something like that. But it's interesting as I go back to the island and look around, you hardly see that scene anymore. And then also if you look at that photograph towards the right-hand corner, there's an individual in the back with a bucket of water. And part of the ritual as a kid, I noticed whenever someone went to the sea, the neighbors would ask them to bring back some water because every morning you would take a little bit of seawater, I guess for medicinal purposes, and probably because of the iodine in the water, or plus tradition. And now even people who live on the island hardly go to the sea, which is interesting. The tourists go, so all of that has changed.
Did you have the kids in mind when you did that piece? Because, I mean, if that tradition is lost, as you say, by bringing it back through art, if the children can see it, then that can evoke some kind of discussion, some kind of feeling to want to know what actually it was all about?
Well, it's interesting. I have shown it to a few kids, and one of the things that happens is, where do you take this? And I say, right here, because they don't see that, which is interesting,
And the second piece?
One of the things that they talk about is, the second piece is, it's a piece of, this is another old part of Barbados which is almost died to. In the olden days as a kid, a lot of people used wood and wood stoves to cook. Now, I would say 90 or more % of the people use gas. Therefore, but this is a photograph of an old lady who's going through the woods, picking the dry wood to take home to make a bonfire, or probably put in a coal pot. Because a lot of these old people could not even afford to buy coal, so they use wood, and that's what they use as their source of fuel. But that again is lost.
So you're trying to keep history alive?
Probably it's a personal thing, but I find it interesting.
And that third piece,
and the third
lovely
piece,
one.
Yeah, it's the photograph of an old farmer. And I was talking to him, and he said, well, I have to go and get my goats now. I guess at a certain time he has to bring them in. So he went away for about 15 minutes, and then coming through the woods, here he is with two limes in his hands because he wanted to have some lemonade. So he picked two limes off his tree, and the goat is leading the way. But these are things that children, even in Barbados, that live in the city, they hardly see anymore. Whereas I said it's probably sentimental for me as a youngster. Everybody had at least chickens in their backyard or something. Now you go to a home in the city, it's paved and a beautiful playing area for the kids, but no livestock. And then everybody complains everything's so expensive in the supermarket. So I'm probably trying to hold on to the past.
Is it because of these lost things of the past that gave you that spirit to become an artist, or were you always an artist?
Actually, I got my first camera when I was about 13 years old. And soon after that, I had my first darkroom. And I photographed a lot of what I call local things. I guess I was always interested in the basic environment around me as a photographer. But as I got older, I think there's certain things that are dear to you and you sort of miss them. So I would go back and look for the specific scenes, and only as time went by, they become rarer and rarer to document or even just notice. Yeah.
I have an observation. I get the feeling that when a lot of people pass by and see a painting, they look at the painting, yes, but I don't think the actual meaning and the actual reality and creativity really registers in one's mind. Is this true to say?
Yes, very true. A matter of fact, it's very interesting. If you would just take a random example and just stay on the background and watch people discuss this photograph, you will find things about the photograph that you never knew existed, because everyone has their own interpretation. So I think that's a very true statement, yeah.
Wayne, it was great having you on Culture Share.
It was my pleasure.
As I always like to say, the Caribbean needs you.
Thank you.
If it's something that will augur well for posterity, then it is something positive. You're keeping history alive, and that is important. In this great diaspora, where all of the things that can make you lose your heritage are so ever present, we need people to remind us of where we came from.
Well, you know, we can't go forward until we know where we came from. I think that's important.
Thank you so much, Wayne.
My pleasure.